Fox hunting as a sport has existed for centuries. In medieval times, it used to be the preserve of nobility. A fact that should surprise no one given the resources involved, breeding the horses, maintaining the hounds, and of course the sprawling estates in which to do the hunting. It was considered a leisure sport even back then. In the modern era though, people consider it controversial, citing moral, ethical and environmental concerns. Fox hunting enthusiasts defend the sport passionately. Is hunting an oddity in the modern world, or are animal rights activists out of step with reality on the ground, as it were? But delving into these questions, we may find that the truth is somewhere in between. This is Grow Light. Our goal with this YouTube channel has always been to challenge preconceived notions. One of the ways we try to do that is to actively engage in the community. Today we are going to be participating in an actual fox hunt. Not literally, of course, because I have no idea how to ride a horse. I'm more comfortable on 4 tires than 4 legs. No, we've been invited today to observe a fox hunt by the Amwell Valley Hounds, a local fox hunting club right here in East Amwell, New Jersey. Lisa Tartaglia, the huntsman for the Amwell Valley Hounds and a good friend of mine, has graciously invited us to observe a tradition that harkens the start of the hunting season.
Hi, I'm Lisa Tartaglia. I'm the huntsman here at Amwell Valley Hounds. This morning, we are starting for the very first time mounted hound exercise to help prepare our hounds to increase their fitness level to go hunting, which will start in just about a month.
She has also agreed to sit down for a conversation to learn about the AVH, hunting in general, and their efforts to keep a tradition alive while helping in environmental conservation efforts. Lisa, thanks for inviting us today.
Thanks for
So what exactly does a huntman do?
So as huntsman, I wear many hats. My primary role is to care for and train the hounds and also the horses. I have 3 horses here. My old horse Plebe that you saw me on today,
Right.
who I've been hunting since 2007. So training everybody, keeping them fit, prepared for the job. And all that goes with it, the cleaning of the kennel,
Right.
the barn, maintaining the property here, also maintaining our trails. Out in our hunt country, we have quite a trail network, many miles of trail. So my dad was a huntsman, and my mother worked with him for 22 years. So I was born and raised in hunt service. I started hunting the very first time I was 5 years old. I came back to hunting in about 2005 and then gave up nursing 7 years ago to pursue this professionally. So Amwell Valley Hounds first started in Kingwood Township.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time they were called Kingwood Hounds. That was back in 1968. They moved into this kennel just a few years later and have been hunting, here in the valley since 1968. Mounted fox hunting in this country started back in the mid 1600s, believe it or not. Yep. By the 1700s, there were hunts that were forming in Maryland and Virginia, and it just spread from there. So in the continental U.S., so including Canada, we have 135 organized fox hunting clubs.
Tell us about the hunting experience local to Hunterdon County.
Sure. As you know, as a farmer, there's a lot of a very strong farming community here in Hunterdon County.
Right.
And thankfully, They do allow us to use their land. They take us very well, actually. They're very supportive of us. In turn, we strive to be supportive of them, being very mindful of their crops. When the ground is wet, we go out on horseback, right? Sure. As you saw this morning. Sure. So we have to be conscientious about, leaving, big divots, not just little hoof prints that we leave behind. True. We can really do some damage if we're not careful, right? True. So I think basically because of the relationship that we have with our landowners, we are able to continue here. Overall, hunting is becoming less popular. And that's worldwide. Over time, there has been a perception that it's a high society, high class sort of sport. And you can understand why people would think that very easily. But the reality is that, we are mostly at this club, we're middle-class working people, and we just have a passion for riding and a passion for watching the hounds and right. watching them work. They thrill me when I watch them working. There are always going to be naysayers. This is why I appreciate the opportunity to do this so much, to sort of allow maybe some people to understand what we do, because there are a lot of misconceptions. Sure, that is a challenge that a lot of hunt clubs face. Right. We want to get the younger people out here because they're going to carry this on in the future, right? And it really is just a matter of, going out, talking to the local pony club kids, talking to the local 4-H kids. Right. We do have some trainers here who have children in their lesson program. And it's just a matter of just hooking them. I like to hook them with the hounds. They're super friendly dogs, and they tend to like little people a lot. And you can usually they fall in love with the hounds, and what stops them is fear of riding outside of a controlled arena. So if you can coax them out here and show them that it can be very safe and it can be a lot of fun. Right. It's not competitive. It's just you and your horse, right. Negotiating the land. Very passionate. It's very spiritual for me. Right. I find it very meditative, frankly. The peace with the hounds, the peace with the horses that I get, it nothing matches it, for me. Right. Having grown up in hunt service, I will tell you that my father never believed that women belonged in hunt service. So that is something that is changing, as times change. And, he wanted to be a lawyer or a doctor, of course. Right. But since he's passed, I also feel a little bit more connected with him even. And sure. It's something that my mom and I share as well. Nice. So I would say there's a lot of factors for me, in addition to just the love of the hounds and watching them work. And, I had 7 puppies out this morning that have never done this before. Wow. And just to watch them, looking at the horses and all the extra people. And, when we went up the road, there were obviously smells that smelled really good and tempting. And, right. And they would look to me and say, like, Mom, can I do that? And say, no. Nope, not today. Right. And just watching them learn and figure it out. And then, of course, when you are actually out hunting, there's nothing that compares to watching the hounds find the scent and then follow it. Right. And figure out where that fox has been. Could be over a log, across a creek, up a farm track, across a hay field, into the woods, and to watch those hounds as a unit, just following that so perfectly, there's nothing compares to it. Here at Amwell Valley Hounds, and most hunts also have our own breeding program. We do sometimes work with other hunts to increase the breeding pool. We have usually 1 litter of puppies every year. Right. And bring them along, starting them leash training as little tiny babies. And then as they get big enough, they can start, walking with the pack. And then as they get big enough, they can actually move in and live with the other hounds properly. I like to compare hounds, believe it or not, to children. They like structure.
Mm-hmm.
They like routine. They thrive on it. I have somebody, one of the whippers in, you met a few of them today, who come and walk them with me.
Mm-hmm.
We stay on the property, and it's a quiet, gentle walk. I keep them out for about an hour. We have some water we can play in on hot days. We toss biscuits. It's their time to be a dog.
Gotcha.
It's their time to be a dog.
So clearly a lot of work goes behind this whole exercise, of maintaining the animals and of course the costs involved in other aspects as well. So tell us a little bit about the financial aspect.
So here at Amwell Valley, we do not own this property.
Mm-hmm.
The kennel and the space for the horses is rented. In addition to renting the property, of course, there's my salary and, and benefits,
Right.
my compensation,
Right.
the feed bill. We're feeding 50 dogs.
Right. That's a lot.
The feed bill is high.
Would you be looking into perhaps having partnerships or tie-ups with corporations or local companies that might help support? Is that something that you have tried in the past or plan to do so in the future?
It's really interesting. I have never thought of that, but that is a very interesting concept and something maybe to investigate.
Right.
Is the synergy.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the synergy that exists between a huntsman and the hounds and the horses. Clearly, it's in harmony. I can see that everyone seems to be operating as a well-oiled machine. But tell us a little more about that.
A huntsman's horse is a very, very special horse. One of the things that I like to tell people is that it is very unnatural for a horse to accept a large group of dogs the way we are asking our horses to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're in nature, they're hunted,
right?
And they see a pack of dogs coming at them, and that can be very frightening.
Intimidating.
And he'll stand there. It's
nice.
Not uncommon to see him nose to nose with a hound. He's really a special guy. It does take a special horse. And when we're out hunting, I have to put my full faith into that horse. I can't be paying attention and micromanaging him. I can't be worrying about where he's putting his feet or what he's doing underneath of me. I have to have just full trust that I have put the homework in to develop that relationship with him, and he's going to do the job I'm asking him to do, and then I can just focus on the hounds.
There's a lot of trust aspect that is baked into this process.
Absolutely.
And that takes time.
It does.
Right. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having us. And we hope to talk to you again in the future.
Yeah, thank you.